What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today we're going to be talking about the top 3 biggest flop heroes, in my opinion, to hit the game. And typically, that usually happens around Christmas, anniversary, and Chinese New Year, which means everything on this list is a light or dark hero. They might even all be light heroes. So let's jump into it. I was kind of doing a little retrospective of the overall past 3 to 4 years of Idle Heroes. The heroes they've been releasing, because of course we have Christmas and Chinese New Year coming up. And we just had Yorm Tum, which we all know sucks. He's really bad. And it made me think, you know who else is bad? Well, we're going to rate them as the top 3. Let's start with number 3. You probably can already guess who they are, but let's get going. So sadly, we're probably going to stay on this screen the entire time. The first one, number 3 on the list, in my opinion, has to be Tara. Now, Tara came out, what, 2019, I believe? It was just a couple months after Garuda. I think Garuda came out in October. Unimax came out in November. Garuda was just like one of the best heroes in the game, point blank, still very good in the game. And then Christmas was Tara. Tara was an interesting hero. The fact that he sounded good on paper but didn't translate into game happened kind of immediately. Now, let's be honest, on day 1, or I should say month 1 of Tara, he was actually pretty good. This is back when we used to get hero every single month. There weren't Transcendence heroes, anything like that. The downside was his Seal of Light that seals passive skills. Well, it only sealed about half of the passives in the game, and some of the most important ones to seal off weren't sealed off when you had Seal of Light proc. Now, this was a hero that building multiple was very strong. Very strong. However, I think what really made him a big flop is the fact that in 2020's Chinese New Year, we had Carrie come out. Y'all know how strong Carrie was back in the day. If you didn't, she was one of the most oppressive heroes in PvP out there. She made Seal Land for Dark so simple to do in combination with Amun-Ra from the previous year's anniversary at like June. So from June to like the power level of the Dark faction went through the roof, whereas the power level of the Light faction kind of just puttered and kind of spun out. Granted, you have to remember this was on the back of getting Ada, which was literally like the best overall PvP hero in the game and Aspen Dungeon hero in the game. So it was like, it was a big letdown going from Ada to Tara, which Tara, you really needed multiple of them in the lineup to even make them viable. So while he wasn't an immediate like hard flop, he had some broken mechanics, and then he just got outshined by the Chinese New Year hero. That's why we put him at number 3. Speaking of Christmas heroes, Eos. So Eos, I think, was what, 2021's hero, I believe, at Christmas? Oh, yeah, if I remember correctly. So let's go through the history of Light. We had Russell at Anniversary. We then had Chinese New Year. It was Tussilago. Then we had like Anniversary. So yeah, this was, I believe, the Chinese New Year. No, this was definitely the Christmas hero, because Chinese New Year became Sun Devourer Eos. This is when we were getting a hero and then a Transcendence version of the hero. The reason why Eos flopped so hard and why they no longer put percentage and specific numbers on the skills preview sheet, because remember, we get very like vague, bland information about new heroes nowadays, is because of Eos. The information that came out 2 days prior to her launch made her sound like that she was gonna actually be like at a very high power level, like probably one of the best first E5 heroes to build. Her numbers and the way she works out, like the percentage HP that she healed, the amount of damage she dealt, so many things about this hero was so much stronger. And within the last day, I guess they did internal testing on the private, on like the test servers, they found out, yeah, she was just doing too much damage. She was actually almost to the point of competing with some Transcendence heroes, and then she got nerfed to the ground, and the backlash was big because, well, everybody wants a good light hero, a good dark hero. This is still, you gotta remember, this is the second iteration of Transcendence hero. So this was the first generation that was going from a hero to a Transcendence hero. And then that was like, everybody's just like, oh, okay, yeah, now we officially know regular heroes are garbage. Transcendence heroes are where they're at. And at that point, I was like, okay, yeah, Eos just really, she's okay. Doesn't even compare to Russell from the previous year, though. Really, really sad. You know who's number one on this list, the Trashy Lago. Yes, if you guys were not around in 2020's Chinese New Year event, it was hyped up because remember the previous year we had Carrie. Carrie was a Chinese New Year hero. The year before that, we had Ada. We had banger after banger. So many good heroes came out on Chinese New Year. People just assume that you just don't summon heroes at Christmas anymore. We had 4Cs that came out at Christmas right before Tussilago, which was a borderline okay hero, was really strong in PvP because it countered the current Rogan meta that was going on in PvP. And then we saw the skill card and we're like, oh my gosh, this hero has gigantic damage potential. Divine Retribution can literally kill people through Unbending Will. This hero is going to be crazy. The fact that she puts these sacred emblems out means if you build multiple of them, just like Tara, the emblems are going to stack up and then they can do some crazy, crazy damage. And then we found out, oh wait, she doesn't have any damage reduction. Oh, and she's an assassin? This is what we call a wet paper bag with like not even a bazooka in the bag. Like, she was a wet paper towel and then she couldn't even do damage. And remember, this is when the assassin meta was at its peak. Everybody, and especially in PvP, had a Rogan, had a Drake, and had a Sword Flash on their PvP lineups with, like, you know, Scarlet Queen Halora or some other modifications. Maybe not that many Rogans, but this was the peak of the assassin meta, and we're like, oh my god, they're actually putting out an assassin hero at Chinese New Year, the biggest event of the year besides like Anniversary, and when they usually release the best heroes in the meta besides Anniversary as well. It's usually one of the most generous events because Chinese New Year historically have been some of the best generous events for free to play players as well, and she just flopped. She couldn't do damage. Like, she just couldn't do damage. She couldn't stay alive. Her design, questionably not great. And yeah, she was probably the biggest disappointment in my Idle Heroes career because that, I mean, my account was literally called the Lights Army. All we built were light heroes back then. And they went and did something like that. So yeah, she hits number one of the most. So I know I probably tunnel vision on the light account, the light heroes a little more just because they kind of hit home more for me because I was such a fan of the light faction, and now they're okay. They're not great. We just had Yorm Tum, which is a huge disappointment as well. Hopefully in the Transcendence version is good, but something about assassins and idle heroes, they're even the most overpowered hero in the game, or just not even relevant, or they're just complete support heroes, which is really weird. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys think anybody should actually top any of these on the list, let me know. It's hard to beat these, so definitely leave a comment down below. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Hopefully we don't have some big disappointments in Chinese New Year this year again. I'll see you guys next time.